Hey everybody, this is Amy Wells, Titans Amy from the Tennessee Titans.
This is Nate Bain, Titans social media manager.
Hey everybody, it's Rhett Bryan, game day host of Titans Radio, and you're listening to the Titans of the Southwest podcast with Lito and Big Mo.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Titans of the Southwest podcast. I'm your host today, Lito, and with me, as always, is my partner, Big Mo. Today, we're going to break down the preseason game 3 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today is a really essential one, so we want to kind of give you a quick little tidbit about the upcoming game, and we really want to dive into things that we're going to be looking at, what you might want to look at, and then we're going to finish it up with a great interview we had with Marc Mariani. Just such an awesome guy. Absolutely amazing. A Titans legend. Some people might call me crazy for saying that, but like, you think Marc Mariani, you think Titans. So with the Titans legend, and like I said, we're just going to kind of quickly go over the Steelers game, and we have a great guest lined up, and we'll talk about that a little bit further for after the actual Steelers game. But for right now, Mo, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Just ready for Saturday for a few reasons. Mainly the game. Can't wait to check it out. I'm hoping to see a lot more than what we've seen so far from the defense, from the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be a little tough, but we'll get into the details of it, man. And as we get rolling, and like just to touch on what you said, Mariani was a great guest. I mean, the dude came straight from skydiving and had an interview with us, man. How cool is that?
That was so cool, and it was such an amazing person. And you're right. I mean, he came the same day he did skydiving with the same people that took Miss Amy Adams-Strunk and our previous head coach. Like, we obviously have a strong connection with them, but he came straight from that, and we got a hold of him, and it was just a great interview. So I'm really excited for everyone to listen to that. Such a great guy. Like, it's so easy to talk to, so everything, and just straight up honest too. And I really do think he's going to be a coach, or at least on the sideline somewhere. But that's going to be all in there. But you're right. I mean, preseason game 3 is basically the only one that matters when you break it down. 1 and 2 are just kind of seeing where the depth at. 3 is making sure our starting lineup is good. 4 is solidifying the depth. So, and it's the Steelers. It's the Steelers. Everyone knows the Steelers. Titans fans see them as a wee bit of a rival. So it's a really good kind of a measuring stick for where we're at for right now. And I kind of expect them to play not just one drive, but a little bit more. You're right. Defense, we need to see a lot out of them. There's so many variables going into this, and we'll break it down after the actual game happens. But for right now, I'm interested, Mo, in what you're going to be looking at. So why don't you let me know what you're going to be looking at and what I should be looking at?
Okay. Well. First off, here's one of the big things. It's going to be Big Ben's debut in the preseason. He didn't play games 1 and 2, so Mike Tomlin already went on record saying that Big Ben's going to get some reps. How much? I'm not too sure. But that's good for our defense, even though we don't know who's going to be out there. I tweeted earlier today that the list of injuries, it just for some reason keeps on getting longer and longer, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is a little concerning this close to the regular season. So we're going to get a crack at Big Ben. Like I said, I don't know how much, but we're going to see a Steelers offense that will be lacking a lot of the potency. Despite Big Ben being on the field, there's a chance we may not see Antonio Brown. I know he's nursing an injury, but I mean the Steelers somehow managed to find wide receivers in every single draft. They always manage to dig up gold. I don't know how, but I mean, if we add another person to the scout team, make it from the Steelers wide receiver scouts for next season, because they can find gold, man, especially in the later rounds. Right now, James Washington's been killing it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Landry Jones or Josh Dobbs throwing him the ball. He's bringing it down, man. Another piece of potency that won't be on the field is Le'Veon Bell. As you know, he's still playing Madden, probably getting his reps on Madden. But last year when we played the Steelers, we kind of bottled him up a little bit in the run game. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he still did damage in the pass game to us a little bit, but we're not going to see him Saturday, which is nice. Now, for on our side of the ball on defense, I don't know if Malcolm Butler's going to play. We now know, I don't know if you were aware of this, but Derek Morgan's going to be out and probably be out until week 4 of the regular season. Were you aware of that? Did you hear that news?
I saw something along those lines, which was not. It was surprising to learn that it was going on, but I'm not as freaked out as I would have been in years past. You know, we have fairly decent depth there, not just for backup for Morgan, but I think it was more for backup for Arakpo since he's getting a little bit older, and this is just J-Rob being J-Rob, just planning ahead for eventual inevitabilities, and this is something that was maybe not taking the path that we thought it was originally going to, but we're still not completely shorthanded as we were in years past. So until week 4, that's interesting to me. But like I said, I'm not as worried as I probably would have been in the past even 2 years.
Yeah, well, Paul Kaharski, he's the one who broke that story. He leaked the details of, I believe, a torn meniscus that he had that required surgery, and that's actually the same injury Morgan suffered against Tampa Bay. So it's like the same time frame pretty much. The reason why I'm a little concerned about that is mainly because I don't really want to start the season with just Landry and whoever else they plug in outside, whether it's Finch or Aaron Wallace or whoever. I mean, they're going to be productive players, but you do want a veteran presence at least on one side to balance for the rookie mistakes that are inevitable to happen. Landry's been beasting it all preseason, but again, he's been playing with Morgan holding it down on the other side. I'm just a little concerned, man. Once we know if Arakpo's, closer to health than he is right now, then I'll feel a little more confident. If we have Rack and Landry out there, we'll be fine for the first few weeks until Morgan's out there, and then they'll settle in on some kind of a rotation. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see. I really do want to see Landry wrap up Big Ben. I dream of that. I want him to take down Big Ben because the Steelers are on my list of teams that I actually do hate, man. It's a short list, but the Steelers are up there. They're up there with the Ravens, the Colts, the Jags, the Texans, the Chargers, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Rams. So that's my list, bro. I hate all those teams.
I agree with the first few you put out there, but I get it. I do want to see, and this is, like I said, it's a measuring stick for us. Like, where are we at? You can't take much that happens after maybe halfway through the second quarter as a serious gauge, considering it was preseason and things like that. But it will be a really good measuring stick for us. So I really, really am looking forward to seeing that. Mostly on the defense, on the defensive side of the ball for us. As far as offense goes, I don't know why, but I don't think they're going to show all of their cards right away, so everything that we see is going to be pretty vanilla for right now. I mean, even LaFleur at his most vanilla is still Razzleberry compared to Robisky. It's still like, oh, okay, we're doing swing passes and options to Dion Lewis, who is making 12 yards out of a 3-yard gain. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's absolutely great. So I don't think I'm going to be focused on the offense as much. It's going to be interesting to see Davis kind of move along the wide receivers line and see how much actual playing time Taywan Taylor gets, considering his last big outing that he had. Those are just the kind of two things that I think we'll be able to take seriously for this game. Outside of that, and even then, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't move Davis along the line. We've heard reports about him not just playing the one spot, but also playing the slot spot, which we know he was really great in Western Michigan because they didn't know how to handle him in that point. Someone 6'2", 6'3", running routes like that, and the speed he has and the catching radius is just like that's not your typical slot receiver, so they don't really know how to do that. I don't know if they're going to really mix that in for this particular game, but I do think we're going to get a good look at our defense, and it's a really good offense to pit them against to actually get a reasonable expectation for. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see Davis in the slot, too, based off of what you said, too, and based off of what his history shows. Like, you think of players like Calvin Johnson, Des Bryant in his prime. They did some damage in the slot, man, because they're big bodies, they're physical, and they run sharp routes out of the slot. That's one of the biggest misconceptions I think about the slot receiver, is that it's limited to a particular body type. Yes, in most cases there is a certain body type that goes in that spot, but sometimes depending on how the offensive coordinator wants to work a play, you could see Taywan stretching the field on the outside with his speed, and Davis have total space up the middle, man, working that slot. I mean, there's just so much that can happen. And the fact that they're preparing each player to be rotational and to play all the spots across the receiving line, like it's going to really help this offense blossom into what many of us expect it to be.
Definitely. And not just Davis and Matthews and Taywan, but we also got Nick Williams and Tajay Sharp and some of these undrafted free agents. It's going to be really interesting to see how they do, because this is going to be the time that it's not like decision time right now, because we still have one game more, but like this is, if you're going to do it, if you're ever going to give 100%, not 110%, because that just doesn't statistically make sense, but if you're ever going to give 100% of what you got, what you worked for, and you're an undrafted free agent in your first year in the NFL, right now is the game that you throw it all on the line. So I'm really expecting to see some good stuff, but it's difficult, because I think Adoree Jackson said it like this recently. He said that the people on the other side of the ball get paid to make plays too. So it's going to be hard, because they're also going to be going through the same thing. This is just going to be a really, really good battle. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here, man. The other thing that I'm going to pay attention to, man, is going to be the penalties. We're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL so far into the preseason. I think we're second in total penalties and third in total penalty yards. So that's not good. That's not clean. Granted, I think Jim Wyatt pointed out that most of the penalties have come from in the second half, from those players that probably aren't going to be on a roster come September 9th or whenever the season kicks off. But I'm really hoping to see a lot of that cleaned up, because you can't go into the regular season being sloppy. You just can't do it, because the team's already going to be behind the barrel with some injuries, preventing them from fully fleshing out the entire offensive personnel, defensive personnel, whatever. That stacking up penalties over stupidity, that's only going to hurt the team.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, again, it's the third preseason game. This is where you throw it all on the line. So if it's between putting like half of your body into a tackle or all of your body into a tackle, like this is the time where you're just like, you know what? Screw it. I am going all in on this. And like you want to just give everything you've got. And so the fact that they come in the second half and in the fourth quarter and stuff like that, it's concerning, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, if you or I were out there, man, I would be gouging eyes out and grabbing people by the nose and the nostrils and just throwing them around and doing everything I possibly could just to get some kind of play on tape. So the fact that it's not so much with our first or even second stringers, it's a little bit more of the later guys, I'm not too concerned about it. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think our first units, they've been pretty smart for the most part in terms of avoiding penalties, but it's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to watch is how the carries are split up on Saturday. I know that Vrabel emphasized there might be a little more push of the running game. We might see a little more Henry, a little more Lewis, and I know for sure in the second half we're going to see a lot more of the three running backs in the race. Fluellen kind of solidified the third spot to me. So right now it's between Dalen Dawkins and Akram Wadley. Like I said, in one of our past episodes, Wadley did pretty good on special teams. I think he had a couple of good runs. But the last game, Dalen Dawkins was balling out, man. He had a pretty solid performance too. And you could tell he has the heart of his uncle, man, Brian Dawkins, who's probably he's just hearing him in his head, just telling him, you're gonna have to work hard. You're gonna have to bite and claw and scratch. Even if he makes practice squad, I would like to keep him around, man, just because by knowing Brian Dawkins, you know what potentially is inside Dalen Dawkins too. So he's a player I'm gonna watch also.
That makes sense. It really does. I think I'm more partial to Wadley just because of I don't know. I just like him. I really do. I just like his running style and everything. And we talked about this in a previous episode. But I trust J-Rob and Vrabel to put best foot forward. So whatever they decide with, I mean, they obviously see them on a much more constant basis, and they obviously know much more about football than I do. It's just down to me whether I trust them or not, and I do. So it's like, that'd be cool if this person was everything I thought them to be in my head, but if they're not, then we'll know come cut time, So I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. And we have a pretty special guest coming on to recap the game with us. I don't know if you want to touch on that or not. We're not going to give anything away yet, but someone that you guys will definitely be interested in hearing.
Yes, definitely. Hopefully, if everything pans out on Sunday, we'll have a very knowledgeable guy who's plugged into the Titans on the show. Got our fingers crossed. I mean, we've been in communication with him. So far, it appears like it's a go, but we'll find out Sunday. That's why I don't want to make any false promises. And if anything, it'll just be me and you again, which is just as good, but this will make it that much sweeter if we can get the guest on. He's never been on the show before. That's about all I'll give you guys for now.
It's a good tease. It's a very good tease because we've had some good guests on the show, and this is a totally new one, very good guest, and we're both really big fans of this person, and it would be really nice to recap one of the more important preseason games with someone who's so plugged in and can give us accurate feedback and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool, man. And the last and final thing that I'll be looking at in the Steelers game is I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the Steelers are, I believe, a second-ranked offense in the preseason so far, and that's without Big Ben and without some of their key weapons. They're still able to move the ball and score points. I want to see whoever's starting on defense. I want to see how they handle the Steelers. I want to see the defensive backs make up for not having Malcolm Butler if he's not active. I want to see how they adjust. I want to see if the comfortability level of Kenny Vaccaro is noticeable and improved from last week.
Yeah.
I want to see Jonnu Smith take advantage of Delaney likely not playing. I think he's nursing an ankle. I want to see Jonnu Smith show that he can still do damage in Delaney's absence. Hopefully Delaney's not out for too long. I think it's just a precautionary thing for now. But I still want to see more Jonnu in the offense, and I think we will. Outside of that, man, I'm just eager to watch the first two quarters, and because I think this is going to be the closest taste to what the actual offense is going to look like. You called it what, Razzleberry? I like that. Razzleberry. This one's going to be Razzleberry, but I think this one will have a little bit of sprinkles, maybe some whipped cream on there. We'll see a little bit more. We'll see a little bit more than what we've seen. Probably plays that they want to practice a little bit harder. It's just so hard for them to show the full offense. Even if they show us one full offensive play, chances are we're going to be showing it with a few faces that would be in that personnel group on the sidelines. So that's kind of crappy, but, I mean, we take what we can get, and I just can't wait for the season to start, man. Just 2 more weeks.
Yeah. We're quickly coming upon it, and that's awesome because we started this in the off season just speculating and talking to maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that, and now it's like, okay, now we're getting kind of a sneak peek, so I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys are. I know you guys are. I mean, if you're listening to Titans podcast, and you're definitely looking forward to the actual games. We'll try and bring you the best coverage that we possibly have and we possibly can. Do you have anything else for us, Mo?
No, I don't. Just want to emphasize to you listeners, we didn't get no questions on the hashtag Titans Southwest, so if you can, shoot us some questions, man. We'd like to give you guys shout-outs and answer some things that we might not touch on. The other thing I wanted to mention is I wanted to just say thank you to Titans MCM for including us in the list of Titans podcasts, and thank you everybody for supporting us. And I mean, a year ago I would have never thought we would have been on that list, man. We didn't even have a show, and now we're up there in some good company. So just wanted to send a thank you to those guys.
Yeah, definitely. That was really cool of them to do that. They definitely didn't have to, but it's greatly appreciated. And Titans MCM I've been reading that book since before it was even a thought of mine to create this. So really big fans of what they do over there, their blog, their everything that they do. I really, really enjoy it. I'll say it like that. I really, really do. Well, Mo, I really want to wrap this up and say, obviously we're looking forward to the Steelers game, and we actually have a special treat for you guys. We mentioned it earlier, but we're going to send you off with our interview of Marc Mariani. Again, such a great guy. Such an absolutely great guy, cool guy, really easy to talk to, and really knowledgeable about everything. So he was able to relate a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly. He was really able to relate a lot of stuff to us that was just great. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll end this episode with that interview. I mean, what else is there to say but tighten up, right?
Tighten up.
Follow us on Twitter at Titans Southwest. And remember to like and subscribe to the podcast, as well as review and share.
All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of the Titans of the Southwest podcast. Here, as always, is myself, Big Mo, and my partner,
Lito.
And also joining us is Mr. Marc Mariani, former Tennessee Titan. How you doing, Marc?
I'm good, guys, man. I'm stoked to be on. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm happy to have you, man. We're going to pick your brain a little bit about the special teams unit, see what you think it can be, if it could be something special, and also wanted to talk about your time with the team.
Absolutely, man. I'm ready for anything. You guys shoot away.
Awesome.
Wow, that works.
All right, so you were drafted by us in the 7th round, pick number 222. And you just exploded onto the scene, man. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that was like, going from a 7th round, kind of under the radar pick to just a superstar?
Oh man, back to my rookie year, man, brings back great memories. I was so blessed to have heard my name called and found out that I got drafted. I had visited the Titans in the pre-draft process, and I knew it was a possibility. But then they drafted my boy Damian Williams from USC in the 3rd round, so I kind of thought that was off the table. And so then I was a little surprised when in the 7th round they called my name, and I had only ever been to Nashville for that meeting. I hadn't seen the city at all, knew what it was all about, and I was so stoked to get here. And I was just really blessed that I was able to come to a team that had an immediate need at the return position. And that's kind of how it all got kicked off. I mean, I think going into training camp, that spot was wide open, both the punt and kick return. And, we were shuffling through, taking our reps. And, I just knew if I had any ounce of opportunity, I had to go bust the door down and make a name for myself. And obviously I could never have predicted the success or whatever that, you go to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. But, I was just trying to make the team, man. Once that training camp whistle hit, that was my only goal, was to make the team and try to flash on film and get the job done. And it was a really great preseason for me, both on special teams and on offense. And, here we sit, 8 years later, and I get to talk to you guys, man. It was a pretty good run.
Yeah, I'd say so, man. I mean, for me personally, special teams hasn't really quite been the same since back when you were with the team. That level of excitement, that potential to either get a huge gain or take one to the house, we haven't seen that in a while. So that being said, we were teased a little bit last year with Adoree, but some of his kickoff returns, well, all of them, they got called back. What is your expert opinion, I guess, on Adoree Jackson, and do you think he's capable of being the superstar that many had hoped he would be in the return game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the guy's just a freak, right? He's such an explosive athlete, and he's very creative, and and when he's got the ball in his hands, he can definitely make things happen. He's the type of guy who can take it to the house anytime he touches it. And, as far as the special teams goes, I kind of gauge special teams on the depth of your team. And, when you're kind of struggling a little bit and you're trying to put together a 53-man roster, you sort of have to just throw guys in the mix and patch up holes here and there. And sometimes special teams sort of draws the short straw when it comes to the roster and that sort of thing. And what I really like about the Titans this year is you saw it in the draft. We didn't have to go out and stockpile guys this year in the draft. I mean, I think John Robinson found his guys, narrowed in on them, and then he went and got them. I think we only have 4 or 5 rookies this year that were drafted. And I think that is really, going to be a big sign toward the special teams. He feels like we have depth. He feels like we have young guys that can make an impact, and I think that's going to really translate to a great special teams unit. As far as Adoree goes, I think with a first-round pick like that, with a guy who you're counting on in so many ways on the defensive side of the ball, you just got to pick and choose your spots with a guy like that. I mean, I think you could throw him back there every time, and you'll have a great return game, but it's a fine line how many returns you want him to get, what part of the field do you want him touching the ball in, do you want to put him back there on kick return? That play can, lead to some issues if he takes a big hit, stuff like that. And I think the coaches know that. That's not really a secret. I think that he will be used as sort of, not a limited basis, but a more of a pick and choose sort of basis. Yeah, strategic basis. That's correct. Yeah, they'll use him a little more. And then I think, as his role increases on defense, they'll kind of mix and match, kind of like Patrick Peterson and the Cardinals did a few years back. It's like he started being a more dominant force on defense, and they sort of phased him out of the return game until they needed a big play, right? And then so you throw him back there. But, I mean, definitely I think Adoree is a guy who is capable at any moment of taking momentum and making a huge play. I think they're going to be extremely exciting this year for sure.
So for you, Mark, what was the biggest difference from returning a kickoff to a punt? Like, did you have a preference? Did you not care? Was there any different strategies that you used for each one? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think they get looped together, right? I mean, kick return, punt return, they're the same thing. But in reality, they're very different plays.
Right.
And the kick return is much more based on timing and leverage and where your blocks are shaded and that sort of thing. And you got to hit it as hard and as fast as you can at just the right moment. And if you do, you're rewarded with a big play if you can break through that line and get into some green grass. Whereas on a punt return, it's also scripted. We have play calls and we have things that we're trying to get accomplished, but you just have, there's so many more variables in play. You don't know how the hang time, where the ball's going to be at, where the jammers are going to be, who's going to be in your face. And it's a little bit more freelance back there to where you try to get to the part of the field where the play was called. But in reality, it's sort of just like, get that ball, man, and get upfield. If you can get us 10, it's all we need, that type of thing. But definitely, I think if I had to say, standing under a punt with a little more hang time than I'd like and the linebackers barreling down on me, there's no such adrenaline pump like that I've never been able to find anything like that. So, and I've taken my fair share of licks, standing under that ball. But I have a couple screws loose anyway, so I just loved it, man. I love the adrenaline. I love being counted on to be back there and make a play and secure the ball. And, I think on the flip side of a guy like Adoree, back to your question, I think you got a guy like me who's, that's why I got to play for 7 years. And it's because, I was always a vet minimum contract guy, but I was reliable back there and I had a good average. Things were going good. And I think that, I was blessed, like I said before, to be in the situation where that was my role, man, and I embraced it. I loved it. I took it very serious. I mean, it was tons of preparation, tons of things. I mean, as a special teams guy, that's your main role. You only practice special teams, 10% of the week, whatever, a couple meetings a day, and then out on the practice field you get one period, and sometimes so your time's more limited, but you can have a huge impact on the game. So I always felt the more prepared I could be, the bigger plays I could have, and it was just awesome, man. It was a role that I was built for, and obviously it turned out pretty well for me.
I would say it did. With special teams, something that I think people overlook is it's such a tone-setting, momentum-shifting aspect of the game of football. Like if you can punch teams in the mouth on special teams, it boosts your offense and it gives your defense that much more fire too. Would you agree with that?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think anytime you see a great team who's consistent every week and winning football games, you'll see a good special teams unit. I mean, you can make up field position and momentum, and you can set the tone, and you can you can make plays. You can make a difference in every single game. And I think, the good special teams units that I've been on in my career, and especially my rookie year, we had so much confidence that we were going to make a difference in the game. We were going to make a play. We were going to drop a punt inside the 5. We were going to, hit their returner and knock the ball loose. We were going to take one back to the house or set up good field position, that sort of thing. And when you get that momentum, when you get that confidence and that kind of swagger about you as a unit, I mean, you can seriously make huge impacts every single Sunday. And I think it's really important on game day to be disciplined and have a unit that's getting out there ready to hunt.
Yeah, I actually, there's a few things there that I wanted to kind of touch on. Where you're saying that there's no bigger rush, and I'm curious because I'm planning on going skydiving in the near future. And I know you just recently went skydiving, and I will never have a chance to field a punt for the Tennessee Titans. You will. So I'm kind of curious, like, how is it even close to that, or is it's a totally different kind of how would you kind of think on that?
That's so funny. For a second there, I thought that was just a coincidence
No.
that you brought that up. But yeah, man, today I went skydiving with the Golden Knights of the U.S. Army, and it was literally one of the greatest experiences of my life, man. It was definitely up there with the adrenaline rush of standing under a sold out stadium under the lights with the game on the line, whatever, getting ready to make a play. And it was so exhilarating, man. And I got to give some love on there to the U.S. Army and the Golden Knights and those guys, man. They took care of us, and it was spectacular, man. So you're going to absolutely love it. You're going to love it. All I can say is, man, once you're in that plane, once you get up there, you don't have a choice, so just embrace it, man. I felt like when I was on the ground, I was like, you know what? This is my last chance to back out. Once I was step foot, I'm like, dude, they're gonna push me out of this door anyway. So I might as well just love every second. Anyway, it was really great. But yeah, that rush of being under a punt, man. I really think it's that's why I think that position isn't for everyone. I think that it takes somebody special to be a kick returner for sure. But I think as a punt returner, it's not for everyone back there, man. And it's different, and you got to be patient, and you got to be a little bit fearless. You got to be, not afraid to maybe take a hit or be able to secure the football. And we've seen a million times, games can go huge momentum swings when a returner puts the ball on the ground or, something goes bad and, back at the return position. And it's definitely something I'll have trouble in my retired life duplicating, that's for sure.
Well, there's always skydiving.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I'm going to keep that in mind. The one tip I always hear for skydiving is keep your eyes open. Just keep them open. It's going to be scary. It's going to freak you out. Just keep your eyes open and enjoy it. Like right around the time you start enjoying it is whenever it ends. So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. I would echo that absolutely.
All right. Well, we're planning on doing that for one of our anniversaries here coming up. So hopefully at least one of us survive because we got kids. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. No, you'll be good. You'll be all good.
And the Golden Knights, is that where Miss Amy Adams-Strunk also went through? Did she skydive with them?
Yep, same program.
Okay.
Same program. And she did, I think, at Fort Campbell. We were at Fort Knox today, but same program, same setup. They're the best in the world. I was absolutely blown away, and that's why I want to give them so much love. I mean, it was spectacular. And obviously, I mean, it's not a secret. I am a huge supporter of our armed forces and all of our military. And I was honored when they asked me, and it was even more of an honor today when I stepped out with those guys. I mean, literally I had no fear because I had the best in the world at my support. So it was a great day.
Wow. Yeah, no, I do my homework because I know about that, and you and your wife are starting a real estate company that we'll pick your brain about here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, I had to grow up sometime, man. I had to get a real job. I tried to put it off as long as I could. I did. I worked. I did everything I could to put it off, but no, we actually, my wife and I just moved back to Nashville. a few months back, and we are starting a real estate company, and we've always had a little thing going on the side with real estate investments and some opportunities that were pretty good, and things worked out well, and sort of came back here not knowing exactly what I wanted to get into, and it's sort of kind of when the shoe fits, you got to wear it for a little bit and run with it. So it's been really good. Definitely not. The training has been fast and the furious, man. It's been intense. It's definitely not like a training camp out in the heat, but it's mentally challenging, and it's been good. But we're loving it, and it gets me up in the morning. I'm excited. It gets my competitive juices flowing, and Nashville's a pretty darn hot real estate market, so everything's kind of working out.
Yeah, that's one of the faster growing cities in the States. And plus you have the hookup for, new players coming to town. They can always be like, hey, you know what? Here's a former player who also does real estate. So talk to him and he'll set you up. So, I mean, that's
exactly
nice.
When you get those guys on here, you gotta, send them my way.
Oh, I can do that. We can definitely do that. I mean, that's...
All right, we'll work some out. I like that. That sounds good.
All right, cool. I mean, we won't even ask for much. Maybe just like a ball or like just a jersey. Like that's about it. We don't need a whole lot out here. I mean, we are happy with candy meth out here. Okay, you can send us a jersey.
Exactly right.
Like you're fine.
We'll do Titans tickets for a free tour bus ride on the Walter White Albuquerque tour exchange.
Done, sir.
We'll do that.
Done deal.
Okay. I will call them right now.
Perfect. No, that sounds good. Sounds like a deal. Oh, that's funny.
All right. Well, I know you're just getting settled in and everything, so you may not have had a big chance to acquaint yourself with like the new regime and everything, but you have some familiarity with John Robinson, and I love John Robinson. I think everybody loves John Robinson. Whenever I went to a game out there, I saw him walking on the field, and I was taking pictures of him. And like my wife was like, "What are you doing taking pictures of that guy in the suit? The players are over there." And I'm like, "No, that's J-Rob. Like this guy is awesome." So I have pictures on my phone of J-Rob just walking up and down the sidelines whenever the game was going.
Yes,
like,
nice. I love it.
So I kind of want to know, like, from players' perspective and everything, how was he, and was there anything major different from any of your other stops that you noticed that he does?
You know what? I think the biggest thing that I can compare is the Titans when I got back from my second stint, and the way it was when I left. When I left in the middle of the Wizenhunt era, there was just a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces. Our owner passed away. We changed front office management, Tommy, all those things going on. There was just so many things so many distractions. And I really like the direction that John Robinson and this new staff is taking this team. And obviously, we had a great season last year. Had a big playoff win, and I think that's just, they're trying to downplay it because it was so special. But the thing is it's okay to do it. It's okay to make a playoff push and not make it all the way, and then just build on it. And so I think your players have been there now. Your coaching staff's coming in with some experience and some real serious experience under their belts too. And so, I'm excited. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. This is actually the first year that I'll get to watch, as a fan again after my career has been over. And what I'm excited to watch is just sort of how we can build on last year and how the new staff fits in. I mean, I went through a lot of coaching changes in my career, and I know it can be difficult. I know that these guys are going to have huge expectations on their backs, but they have a lot of kinks to work out, and I think if they can do that quickly and they can get the boys rolling, I mean, I don't see why we can't have a great year here, and I know the excitement's building, and I'm no different, man. I'm a huge Titans fan now, just leading the two-tone blue, and I'm ready to go.
That's awesome. That must be trippy, going from a player to suddenly, like, this is your first year as a fan, as an adult. Like, that must be wild.
You know what? It is strange. Last year, I didn't get picked up last year, so technically last year was my first season out, but my mindset was still there. I was training every day, hoping for the call, and so I still had, it still hadn't clicked off yet. And so, but now that it has, it is very different. It's very weird. The business side of it's over. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to be upset with the guys that cut me anymore. That kind of thing. It's like, all right, I'm done with that, man. On to the next. On to selling some real estate. Yeah, I mean, it is fun. I look at it from a whole different vantage point. I'm going to practice tomorrow to see a scrimmage, and I'm just excited, man. And I think just as a city, you can feel the excitement in the air. It's you can cut it with a knife. everybody's excited for the first preseason game. Everybody's getting their season tickets. There's a lot of, excitement and build up and not that we didn't have this before, but it's just, there's a big expectation, and I think that helps motivate the new staff and the players. We're ready to win, and it's going to be exciting. I think this is going to be a great year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I'd agree.
Nothing is more optimistic than a fan before the season starts, and definitely nothing more optimistic than a Titans fan before the season starts. So I think we're all on board, and it's good to kind of count you among the fans with us, and it's just like, okay, let's go. Like, you can sell houses throughout the day. We do our thing throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, this is what we're doing. We're watching the game. We're all tuning in together as fans. So that's really neat. That's just cool.
No doubt. No doubt. And it's going to be exciting, man. And I just think that the new staff coming in, there's a whole lot of build up around, what we did last year and everything. And I think if we can just settle in and get the guys, we have a roster that's full of talented dudes on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game, and all it takes is a little luck. I mean, everybody's good in the NFL. All it takes is a little luck, a little preparation, and a few things falling into place. It could be one of those special years.
Yeah, they say that the NFL is like made to be an 8-8 league, so it can be like anybody's game if a few things fall your way. As a Titans fan, we remembered like the Miami game. Like that was the one that was like, holy cow, if we would have won that game, we would have been on the same level as the Jaguars, and maybe everybody would just shut up about the Jaguars a little bit more and give us a little bit more credit. But no, the ball went this way and the ref saw that and Castle did this and just a couple different things. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the way the NFL is. I think that anybody can beat anybody on a given week, and it's important to remember that. And I mean, you hear guys talk about it all the time. You just get on a roll. The Philadelphia Eagles, you just get on a roll. It doesn't matter that your starting quarterback goes down. Everything's clicking, man. Everything's clicking. And we have the same amount of talent here in Nashville, and that's all it takes, man. Just a couple bounces your way and a couple things going in the right direction. And you win those close games, and pretty soon you're taking the field every single Sunday with a chance to go to the playoffs or improve your lead in division or whatever the case may be. But I think we've put ourselves in a good situation. I think we're obviously we have a few weeks left of this preseason to tune up and dial in, and like I said, once that season kicks off, it could be one of those years.
Yeah, I have like one last thing I want to touch on, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Mo. I'm sorry. So since you're in a unique position of being a fan now and looking at it from the outside looking in, like the differences between the coaching styles and what they decide to do as far as not disclosing injuries and really putting a big emphasis on not fighting. As a fan, like I'm curious to see how that comes across to you with your unique kind of experience, because like not disclosing injuries, like I get, but fighting is like one of those things that seems like, yes, obviously you don't want to do that because in game you'd get kicked out, and so they want to set the precedent early. But I look at it like whenever I played football, is you're so hyped up. That's got to be really, really difficult. And fighting in general, like I don't know about you guys, but I've only been in one fight in my entire life, and if I hadn't tripped running around that corner, she would have never caught me. So, like,
nice.
I'm just kind of curious.
Nice. I think everyone has their own style, and it was funny. It was cool to watch Thursday night against the Packers because everyone wanted to talk about the season starting and all this stuff. What we forgot, and what actually, what I was thinking about the whole time, maybe you guys have mentioned it, but it was Mike Vrabel's first game as a head coach, and just the excitement he must have felt as the head man. His playing days are over. It's a much different feel, and now you're taking your dudes onto the field and you're leading the charge. And everybody has their own things, but I wish the best for that dude. I've met him a couple times. He's just an awesome guy. If he says it's one way, you're just one of those things. That's how football is, man. You got to listen to your authority figure, and he's the guy running the show now. So everyone just needs to fall in place and get her done.
Get it done.
Nice.
Yeah. No,
get her done.
You are a Montana boy, aren't you?
I am, definitely. It's like I can stay here as long as I can stay here forever, but it's still going to be deeply rooted inside me. I'm a small-town Montana guy.
That's awesome.
For me, Mark, I just had two questions. I know you got to get on with your evening, man. I just had two more questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. One question I had for you involves Nick Williams. I don't know how familiar you are with him being a free agent addition to the team. What's your impressions of Nick Williams coming from a guy who's eager to do anything to make the team, even if it means earning his job on special teams.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, a guy like that, I got a lot of love and respect for. I mean, I haven't seen him in person yet. I watched him play and read everything. You know, a grinder like that is the way I was my whole career. So I look at a guy like that. I know the battle. I know the daily grind. Sometimes it isn't fun. You know, you get picked last or whatever the case may be. You don't get as many reps, or, you know, the starters get this or that. But, you know, when he made a couple plays against the Packers the other night, I just, you know, was stoked for him. And it's guys like that, man, that keep everybody out there going. It's guys like that I used to watch and try to model myself after. And, you know, it's a guy like that who, you know, maybe he's not going to start. He's not going to be your number one guy in the receiving corps, but if he's a great option returning punts or kicks, and he's covering kicks, and he's out there in the slot doing his thing, you know, if the more feathers he sticks in his cap, and more that he helps his cause, you know, it's those guys that you sit in the war room on, you know, the night before final cuts, and the GM's going, you know what, this dude, we can't let him go. He made too many plays.
Yeah.
He does too many things for us. He's on punt coverage, and he's on kickoff. I mean, if we let him go, we got to, you know, fill all those gaps. And, you know, so I love seeing a guy like that grind and make it. I'll be looking out for him when I go over to training camp in a few days.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would, because he strikes me as a guy that would catch your eye. Just somebody who's going to radiate energy, and like you said, he's not going to be the number one receiving option, but he's going to contribute with any rep that he's given. And I think we do need guys like that on the team.
100%. No doubt.
The last question I have for you is, in your second stint with the team, you got to spend one season in the same locker room with Marcus Mariota. What can you say about that guy that hasn't already been said?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all heard it all. I mean, the guy's character is second to none, right? I mean, he's just a phenomenal human being. He's a great leader, and he's got all the skills to go along with it. What I hesitate with and what makes me nervous, and only because I've been down this road, is I don't ever underestimate how hard it is to continually change offenses. I mean, everyone's excited about our new OC and you know, some of our playmakers, but for a guy who's going on his fourth year now, and to have so many changes that have gone since he's been in the league, it's tough, and it's tough to pick it up quick. I hope they help him out, get the ball out of his hands. I think that's the game plan from what I hear, and I think that'll be really beneficial for him. But as far as a guy who's going to work his butt off, you know, be there first in the morning, last to leave, never miss a second of film, he'll watch everything. I mean, you got a guy in Marcus that'll do all that. If they can figure out a way to make him feel comfortable back there, keep him healthy, I would love to see him throw the ball away instead of taking a hit this year. I mean, he did it once in the Packers game. It was the second play of the game, and he had to slide, and I think he picked up a half a yard, or even maybe took a sack. And I wish he would have just thrown the ball 30 rows up into the stands and just said, you know what, whatever. I don't even. He took a hit on his leg, and I'm just going, gosh darn it. He's a warrior, man. That's his mentality. But I want to see him throw the ball out of the stadium so that he doesn't have to get hit. But keeping him clean, keeping him healthy, and giving him all the preparation and all the tools around him is going to be crucial, and I think he can handle it, man. I got nothing but love for that dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I know I said last question, but just hearing you talk, I gotta wonder, do you have any thoughts of going into coaching or assisting or anything? Because like you seem like you would really connect with people, and obviously you have the experience to back it up. Like, is there any thought to that? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to by any means.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
you know,
curious.
it's interesting. It's interesting because I always said no, and I just, you know, it's a grind, and it's just as cutthroat of a business as being a player, and it can be tough and it can be brutal on your family and all that stuff, but then you get so much fulfillment and so much reward for everybody, you know, when things go well. And so I always said I kind of wasn't going to go that route, but now I got talked into doing some high school football this year, so I'm volunteering at a high school in Nashville, and so I'm going down that route a little bit. I kind of am feeding the little crow right now, and it's good. Honestly, I love it. It's been really fun. We have our first game on Friday night, and so it's been good. You know, I wouldn't count it out fully. I'll just say that. I'll just leave you with a little cliffhanger. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
That's fair. Well, Mr. Mariani, I mean, we really appreciate it. And if it's true what they say, that character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you, we certainly can do nothing for you, and you treated us amazingly well, and you have such high character. We sincerely appreciate you coming on, and you are obviously more than welcome to join us at any time. So
Awesome.
Thank you very, very much. It's been a great honor, sir.
I appreciate it, man. Those are kind words, and I'll relay those to my mom. She likes hearing that, from me that they raised me well. But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me on, and we'll keep in touch, and maybe we'll do this. Well, maybe we'll do a little mid-season checkup here in the next little bit after we get a few wins under our belt.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm completely okay with that. We'll touch base with you around the middle of the season. And thank you again. I can't thank you enough. This is awesome. Thank you.
Perfect, guys. Yeah, let's keep in touch and go Titans, man. Going to be a big year. Thanks, guys.